And there we go, a little different Christmas song for the spirit. I'm Irv Homer. It is Wednesday, December the 24th, the day before Christmas. That is the side of the international date line. On the other side of the international date line, it's over. Welcome to the Irv Homer Show, ladies and gentlemen. Starting on, January
5th.
January the 5th, we will be doing our broadcast on the internet at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That will be our kickoff date after the first of the year. My other commitments prevent me from doing it from 7 to 8, so we have switched Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, January the 5th, from 4 to 5. Before we get into the meat of today's program, I don't know how many of us are joining us at the new hour. I know everyone is out shopping, everybody's out buying, everybody's going crazy, and so we'll do a general program with maybe a little radicalism, maybe not a little bit of radicalism. However, we're broadcasting from irvhomer.com. My website, if you care to tell your friends about it, is www.irvhomer.com. You can email me at evilirv@irvhomer.com. That's evilirv, one word, at irvhomer.com. And this technical facility is put together by RGH Computer Services for all your computer needs. We should have got that a lot sooner. Didn't have a chance to read it yet.
Yes.
But Sal, if you're watching, we will try to get to this before I read it, or before we get to the end of the program. I doubt whether they can do it today. However, I do broadcast on commercial radio from Monday through Friday from 1 to 2. The possibility is that it may be extended after the first of the year from 1 to 3. I don't know whether I want to work that hard or not. The radio station has been very kind to have me back again. It's WBCB 1490 AM, located in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Covers the three counties of Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County in New Jersey, and Bucks County in Philadelphia. And on a clear day, you can hear it pretty strong throughout the Delaware Valley area. But the email that I received is kind of interesting because of the website, and because of the archive, is seen or heard around the world. The response to the program has been more than we've kind of expected, Ron, right?
Oh, yeah.
We reached about 250,000 so far?
This year, the website has over 500,000 hits.
Wow.
And the archive shows have over 25,000 hits.
So it's more than we expected. But apparently, folks like what they're saying. They're telling their folks about the program. It is a program that is uninhibited, has no restrictions. Of course, you have to be careful. I still adhere to the commercial rule of libel, slander, and all that good stuff. And no personal attacks. Yes, I will attack you personally if I feel you're wrong. But then we have fairness doctrine here on the Irv Homer Show, because we give you an opportunity to not only respond on our chat room, but to use our telephone at 215-253-8877, 215-253-8877. If you feel that any of the big boys have been offended, they can come into the studio here and debate with me for an hour, 2 hours, however long you want to, with no holds barred and no commercials to worry about, so you won't have to worry about offending your sponsor, who may advertise automobiles that blow up, computers that aren't worth a damn, food that isn't worth a damn, selling food supplements and alternative therapies that don't worth a damn, but you sell that crap on commercial radio, and Boobus America buys it. I mean, you buy everything under the sun, ladies and gentlemen, from making a penis extender to having a perpetual erection for 4 hours, and then they say, well, if it's longer than 4 hours, I think you should go to the doctor. No, I think you better go when it reaches about 45 minutes, pal, because I don't know anybody running around with a hard Johnson for 4 hours and says, you know what, hon, I think it's time to call the doctor. Well, you call the doctor, and I'll call the undertaker, or I'll call the carpenter to saw that damn thing off. Anyway, be that as it may, it is the day before the day of the Prince of Peace being born, which, if you took a look at the traffic that I encountered today on the way to the radio station, don't amount to a hill of damn beans. And I can only assume that all of those nitwits that were driving today in Bucks County must have all been atheists or agnostics, because no God-fearing Christian who celebrates Christmas would be that damn dumb to drive the way they drove, placing himself at risk and jeopardy in an automobile accident, or giving each other the finger trying to get a parking spot in the parking lot. So if you damn atheists out there, you damn agnostics who don't believe in the Prince of Peace, stay the hell off the road and let us good God-fearing people be on the road to buy gifts. For who? Oh, for Jesus. That's his birthday. Well, sorry, kid. You're dead. You ain't getting no gift. Aunt Louie will get a gift, and Cousin Blanche will get a gift, and Cousin Farfalitis will get a gift, and Cousin Sepharcus will get a gift. You ain't giving Jesus nothing, but all you're doing is giving Jesus aggravation, because all over the area there are accidents galore. And for people who are going to be celebrating tomorrow, the Day of Peace, you're going to be laying in a hospital in traction or in the internal care unit. Listening to the reports, and I was monitoring. I'm a very poor sleeper, incidentally. I grab half an hour, wake up, listen to the radio, shortwave, round the dials, go back to sleep, another half hour, up again. And I heard this nitwit traffic reporter on KYW radio, which is the all-news station in Philadelphia, saying that on the Schuylkill Expressway, which is one of our major thoroughfares in the Delaware Valley, there were many accidents and spinouts in a 30-car pileup, and it was caused by ice on the highway. How does ice cause an accident? If the morons were not on it, they wouldn't be in an accident. Now, being on radio for the biggest percentage of my life and listening to weather reports, we constantly say, there's ice on the road. If you don't have to go out, don't. Now, what the hell, unless you're going to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, are you doing on a damn icy road? It's not the ice that caused the accident. It's the stupid asses that were out at 3 o'clock in the morning coming home from some bar. But this nitwit, the ice caused the accidents. And so what I suggest for the year 2009, that you start listening and being a little more critical with your ears to put your brain engaged so you'll be able to think a little different. You see, the good Lord, if you believe in God, gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means you should listen twice as much and speak once. But what has happened, we've got a society now that has 2 mouths and 1 ear, and with that 1 ear, 9 times out of 10 it's plugged up with wax, because you don't hear a damn thing, and you don't learn anything. Also gave you 2 eyes to be able to observe, like ice on the highway. We have got to change our way of thinking if we as the human race are going to survive. But tomorrow will be a day of good cheer. Families getting together, people flying all over to see their families that they haven't seen. And there'll be a lot of lonely people tomorrow. A lot of lonely people who have no families, through faults of their own, faults of the family, maybe death, maybe some trivial damn thing that happened in their lives that over the years have managed to separate people from their families or from their friends. And you've probably even forgotten what the hell the fight was about. something trivial, something that on a scale of life amounts to a pimple on an elephant's behind. So I am going to dedicate myself to the year 2009 and influence my friends and family to try to unite with a thing that most people have a common bond with. That is family, tradition, culture, religion, ways of life, and to set a criteria of those things that are important in your life. Next to being alive, the most important thing is to be able to think clearly. Not to carry hate in your mind, not to carry animosity in your mind, not to try to be better than the next guy with a fancy car and a mink coat, a big diamond. That's a status symbol that don't mean a hill of beans. Because if you ever seen anybody at an undertaker parlor with his Cadillac or his Lincoln or his Jaguar or his Lexus next to him and they're going to bury the damn thing. You ever see anybody buried with a 4-carat, 5-carat diamond ring on the hand? No. You ever seen a guy die and be buried with a big pinky ring? No. I resent the fact that we even dress corpses. What the hell's the sense in dressing it? It came into the world naked. Why in the hell don't we go out of the world naked? But we live with these old traditions and cultures. Some people, my dear friend, have never driven in a Cadillac in their life, but on the way to the funeral parlor, once they're dead, they're in a Cadillac. Put the poor guy in a Ford. He never rode a Cadillac in his life. The hell are you giving a Cadillac for when he's dead? You want to be good to your friend? Give him a Cadillac ride while he's alive. This is the stupidity, ladies and gentlemen, of ourselves in our culture. And it is absolutely ridiculous. My whole point in this program is to make you think a little different. Now, people spend gazillions of dollars with psychiatrists and psychiatrists and psychologists to tell you the things I'm telling you tonight. Put a priority in your life as to what's important. Now, peace on earth is great. It's very simple. Let's have peace on earth. But peace on earth, ladies and gentlemen, begins with peace in your own mind. If you can be peaceful in your own mind, you can develop peace among your community, among your friends, among your family, and then develop peace throughout the nation and throughout the world. But most people are not at peace with themselves. They're mad at themselves. They hurt themselves. They overeat, they overdrink, they overdrug, they oversmoke. And the great cliche is, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. If somebody would make me as fat as I am, I'd kill him. I do this to myself. I'm an addict. I'm a food addict. I am my worst enemy, and I don't have peace of mind because I'm my worst enemy. But if you would make me this fat, I'd hate your guts. If you forced me to smoke cigarettes, I'd hate your guts. If you forced me to drink too much alcohol, I'd hate your guts. If you forced me to lose my money gambling, I'd hate your guts if I went broke. If I acted stupid and lost my house because I was too dumb to know that I couldn't afford it, I'd hate you. Why in the hell are you mad at the mortgage companies? Why are you mad at the finance companies? You stupid ass who didn't have peace of mind, got yourself into trouble, and you're mad at them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to me? If you screw up in your life, blame yourself and correct it. You show me a guy that's had money and lost it, I'll show you a guy that'll make money again. But you show me a guy who has lost money and wants somebody else to bail him out, I'll show you another loser. Unless there is something wrong, we are the victim of our own stupidity. And I remember SOS used to stand for Save Our Ship. Well, my new theory of SOS is you're stuck on stupidity. SOS. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say this in all honesty, I am not excluding myself from any of the criticism that I'm heaping upon you. Because until I shook the stupidity out of my head, and I'm still doing it every day, I am stuck on stupid. And it is extremely difficult. I make no pretense that it's going to be easy. But instead of feeling sorry for yourself, get yourself up and go out and kick the hell out of the world. And that's my hope for the year 2009 after this day of peace. Peace on earth. Peace in your own mind first, then you'll have peace on earth. So the big question is, why can't we have peace on earth? And I'll tell you why. Because the cliches that we've lived with, that we grew up with. I remember growing up, we still hear it today. Nobody wants war. Right? Well, some son of a bitch must like it, because we sure as hell have a lot of them. You ever think about that? Don't tell me that we don't like war. When I speak like this, I'm speaking of the 168 nations that are in the United Nations. All nations, all humanity. Some bastard someplace in Ethiopia, some bastard in Paraguay, some bastard in Cuba, some bastard in Washington, some bastard in North Korea, in China, likes war. As long as he don't get killed. So what we as a people of planet Earth must do is make up our minds that we're not going to kill anybody to make some other son of a bitch rich or powerful. And so I propose for the year 2009, I did it this afternoon, and was criticized for it, that all clergymen of all denominations, even a witch doctor someplace maybe in the bowels of Africa, have an international peace conference. Put aside the hatreds of Jews and Arabs and Protestants and Catholics in Northern Ireland. There's a classic example, ladies and gentlemen, of peace on earth. 800 years Christians have been killing each other in Northern Ireland. I met some of the terrorists of the 6 counties of Northern Ireland, and I couldn't figure out that tomorrow, the day of Christmas, when both sides will be paying homage to the Lord Jesus Christ, that they both are willing to kill each other for 800 years because one is a Catholic and one is a Protestant. Is that total insanity, or is it not? Now you tell me the Christian Protestants and the Christian Catholics in Northern Ireland have the audacity to celebrate the Prince of Peace's birthday tomorrow. You tell me. When we get programmed to this convoluted logic of hating people because somebody else told us to hate them, maybe the world will be a little different. Maybe there will be true peace on earth and goodwill toward men. But growing up, I was told, when I first grew up, in the confrontation of my first military experience, that I had to hate the Germans, I had to hate the Japanese, and I had to hate the Italians. They were known as the Axis. And I wanted to kill them bastard Germans in the worst way. Them Nazi no-good bastards and them lousy gooks, those Japanese that bombed Pearl Harbor, a sneak attack, and them Italians who signed an alliance with Adolf Hitler. I was out to kill every one of them people. And so we were victorious. What the hell did we win? What did we win? So after World War II was over and the Berlin Wall was put up and the confrontation between Russia and the free world, democracy versus communism, I had to like half the Germans and I had to hate half the Germans. See, the Germans are on the commie side I had to hate, but the Germans on the free side I had to like. Then I liked the Japanese. And the poor Italians were busy making pizza and gelati. They didn't know for shit. They raised their hand. We would go with anybody. God bless them. See, why I like Italy is because any country that's had 35 governments since the end of World War II is my kind of country. Them people don't take no shit from no government in Italy. They change it. That's it. New government. And so then that was over, and now I'd hate the Bosnians, the Herzegovinians, and the Croatians, and hate half the Yugoslavs. I gotta hate the North Koreans, but I gotta like the South Koreans. How the hell do I know a North Korean from a South Korean? They all look alike to me. But I gotta hate the Northern ones, I like the Southern ones. I gotta like the Taiwanese, Chinese, but I can't like the Chinese on the mainland, although I'm probably broadcasting on a Chinese television set. This is the mental crap, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been indoctrinated with and have lived with all our life. Now I'm propagandized to hate the right wing, the conservatives, and the conservatives say we got to get rid of the liberals. I hate them both. I'm an equal opportunity hater because they're both asses. Aren't you getting tired, ladies and gentlemen, of somebody telling you who to hate? What a disgrace it was to have shoes thrown at President Bush, the savior of Iraq. How many people, innocent Iraqis, have been killed in Iraq and Afghanistan? So we changed the language. There are no more innocent deaths. It is referred to as collateral damage. Now, why that ass reporter didn't recognize that maybe his family was killed by American bombs that were called collateral damage, I don't know. See, we had to kill you people to free them. We killed the Vietnamese to free them. Maybe somewhere along the line, the world, humanity, has been programmed with a bunch of bullshit. And unless we change our thinking, our thought process, nothing's going to change. This man, Barack Obama, who was president-elect, hasn't even issued one order yet. And these asses on the right have got them confiscating my business and confiscating my bank account and confiscating my books and confiscating my records and talk about fear. The fear-mongers on the right have made it look like January the 21st, the day after Barack Obama gets sworn in as President of the United States, the end of the world is coming. Well, we had 8 years of George Bush. And the damn world is almost coming to an end. If you don't believe it, take a look at your investments. But it's them damn Democrat liberals' problem. That's who it is. A pox on both their houses because they're both whores. And a whore will sell their body to anybody with the money that can pay her for her services. But if that Constitution of the United States says we the people mean anything, that word must be spread throughout the country and must be spread throughout the world. When you realize, ladies and gentlemen, that the brightest and most brilliant brains, both in medicine, science, technology, electronics, transportation, 47% of the world's brains, according to the Rockefeller Institute study, has shown that 47% of the world's brains are figuring out how to kill the human race. That's right. We've only got 53% of the world's brains trying to save us. And we allow it to happen. We, the people of the world, I'm not only referring to America. Maybe this program will be translated in different languages. I don't know. But if we took collectively the world's brains that are hell-bent on the destruction of the human race, would spend its time in trying out how to save little babies that are born with deformities, how to save older people who may be suffering from some type of incurable disease, helping people with mental disabilities or mental problems, trying their best through medicine, science, research to get people out of depression, to have people enjoy the luxuries of life, to take a look at things that was given by nature to enjoy: the sun, the stars, the moon, even rain, even snow. Maybe we can eliminate some of these, quote, wars. So a gentleman called me today and said, well, Irv, that's utopia. Well, if you think that's utopia, you people out there living who think that I'm crazy, you want utopia? I'll give you utopia. Visit any cemetery. You won't see one body come up there and give you a bunch of shit. Not one. So death is a utopia. What's wrong with making life a utopia? What's wrong with making life a utopia? If the only time I'm going to have utopia, and then some of these hucksters say, well, if you don't do it, you're going to go to hell. How do you know? You ever been there? The hell that some people create, ladies and gentlemen, is right here on earth while they're alive. The hell that you live from fear, the hell that you live from insecurity, the hell you live with hate, the hell that you have because of lack of communication, the fear of being alone. That's the hell. Did you ever see any corpse with a grin on his face in the coffin? Don't he look wonderful? Don't he look good? Don't she look restful? Is that the only utopia we get as human beings? Am I wasting my time doing this program? I think so. But these are the feelings I got to get out of my system, and I do it for myself. I don't do it for you people. I don't give a shit. Nobody watches the program. I feel better at the end of the day. So what I'm calling for, and throw it out of your church. You know, most people really piss me off. You go to church and the minister, somebody says, any questions? And everybody sits there with a thumb up their ass. You ever notice you go to a meeting, any questions? One person says everything. Home and school meeting, one person. Unless you got something to piss and moan about, and then you all go, ah, like a bunch of crazy people. Dialogue. Change your thought patterns, think, ask questions. And don't tell me that peace is a utopian dream. And if you think it is, what's wrong with it? What would happen if every clergy person of every religious denomination in the world, from voodooism, and that's a religion, and they respect their religion as much as you respect yours, if the voodoo priest, the voodoo priestess, the medicine man, the Pope, rabbis, imams would they can't even get together. These men of peace, they're proclaiming, they can't even get together because they hate each other. men of peace around the world hate each other, but they're convincing me that I should be a man of peace. What kind of bullshit is that? You demonstrate to me, men of peace around the world, that you are peaceful in your thoughts, that you are appreciative of the ability to communicate with other people with different ideas, that you're willing to live without infringing on their rights, without trying to convert them to your thought, and if you can't convert them by thought, you'll kill them. Then if you demonstrate to me that all religions, men of religious preaching, can get along with one another as men of peace, then I'll believe you. But until then, you're nothing but hucksters. You're nothing but hucksters. And you who follow these so-called men of peace who hate other men of peace are sheeple. The only people that are going to protect themselves from the ravages of stupidity are the people of planet Earth. And if we, the people of planet Earth, decide that we're not going to kill our fellow man because he may think different than me, and him different than I, but not to be led by some huckster, we the people won't fight. Let them fight. Let all the men of peace who don't know what peace is, who practice and take our money to proclaim peace throughout the world, let them get in the ring and fight among themselves, and we the people will learn to get along with one another, because they're hucksters in selling you peace that they know they don't want to have. Without fear and hatred in your heart, ladies and gentlemen, that is practiced by most religions, they can't control your mind. Fear one day, hate the next. Fear one day, hate the next. Fear one day, hate the next. I'll control that kid in about 5 minutes. I always had a fear of water. Why? I didn't know how to swim. I don't know how to swim. I wasn't afraid of water anymore. I had a fear of flying. So I learned to fly. I lost my fear of flying. You have to be taught fear. You have to be taught hatred, because you're a mental midget. But once you're taught to overcome that fear, once you're taught to overcome that hatred, you'll lose your fear and you'll lose your hatred. And then these men of peace around the world will suddenly realize, I can't control these people because they really want peace. And they want the science and the engineers and the brains of the world to solve the problems that we humans suffer. Hunger, poverty. I'm tired of seeing babies around the world with flies coming out of their mouths while somebody says, send me $1.85 a week to feed this child. Aren't you tired of it? I am tired of seeing Marines' toys for tots. It repulses me, ladies and gentlemen, in the greatest country in the world that can go to the moon, to develop automobiles that go 400 miles an hour on the Bonneville salt flats, that can develop rockets to the moon, land them safely, have a damn space station out there that I'm waiting for them to build a McDonald's on. We don't have enough money for children to have a lousy toy at Christmas time. So kid has to beg for a toy. Does that not disgust you? You feel good though because you gave a toy to a tot. I would feel better if every child in America had a home to live in, had a moral standard to live by, had food to eat, had clothing to wear, and could afford for his family to buy his own toys. I take no feeling of goodwill when I announced today that the radio station provided 3,317 toys to kids that couldn't afford them in Bucks County. Should Bucks County be proud of that? What happened to the other 364 days of the year 2008 that these children didn't have a decent place to live, living in shelters with their mothers, abandoned by the fathers, not knowing who the father is on half of them? But we'll all sit down tomorrow at a big meal. I gave a toy to a child in Bucks County. I wrote a check for a gift of Christmas. I donated a tree to Israel. And we cleanse our stupid brain by writing a check. Instead of working our behinds off to eliminate poverty in this country, giving every little baby that's born an opportunity to be a free person with some type of moral, ethical code. You know, I had the experience, many of you never did, but the experience to spend time going through prisons on the East Coast, to a point where I went and visited a gentleman on death row in Graterford Prison. And I looked at the population of Graterford, and I think the population at that time was about 3,400, 3,500 prisoners. And as I looked over the 600 men in the lunchroom that the warden wanted me to speak to, came to me, and it was like I don't know what you could call it. But what I saw was 600 baby faces in that audience of those prisoners that were there for murder, rape, drugs, DUI, you name it, they were there. I saw 600 baby faces and thought at the time of their birth they were all innocent little babies. Some with big ears, some with hair, some with a smile on their face. They all look like little wet rats when they're born. Then they clean them up, they wrap them in the swaddling clothes. And I thought to myself, while the warden was introducing me, somewhere along the line, from the time all of these 600 men were little babies, innocent, I don't care what you believe, without sin. Babies don't have sin. Something happened between the time they were born and the time they were incarcerated. And the adults that birth these babies have a responsibility to see that they never end up there. But we call it personal initiative. Lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Ba 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 ba. Go to church. Something's wrong. We've been doing that and it's not working, so why do we continue doing it? There's got to be something wrong in the way we're thinking and the way we're acting. Next time you see a picture in the paper of someone accused of rape or murder, just try to think, what the hell happened to that individual from the time they were born until the time they committed murder, rape, felony, shooting, brutality? What happened? Or don't we assume any responsibility of it whatsoever? Mankind on planet Earth has done something wrong and continues to do it with war, ignorance, stupidity. And if I were the granted supreme high radish of this world, I would declare war on stupidity. You would go to jail for being stupid. So tomorrow is the day of peace. Opening up the presents, eating food that is bad for you, stuffing yourself to the gills like a pig, overeating, taking baking soda, taking brioche, belching, farting, pooping, taking laxative because you ate too damn much. Drink too much, you go, boy, did we have a hell of a good time. Oh, I got heartburn. I had a good time. Oh, I'm bummed. I'll probably be guilty of the same thing tomorrow night at this time. I'll probably be so damn full, my stomach is going to explode. I'll have to loosen my pants and take 4 baking sodas before I go to bed. So I admit that I have a weakness. I'm going to try my best not to fall victim to gluttony. But I feel good. You know why? Because I bought 2 toys for them poor kids in Bucks County that don't have any toys. Am I going to do anything next year to say, what do you mean it's next year? I provide my time raising money for the Sunshine Foundation that provides dreams and wishes to chronic and terminally ill children. So I do my thing 365 days a year for little kids. I don't have to write a check and give toys at Christmas time. So maybe you want to volunteer some of your time instead of going to the casinos, instead of going to the football games. Become a big brother and a big sister and help a child so that you won't see them in that lunchroom at Graterford Prison where I went and had the chills. There are many organizations through your churches, synagogues, civic centers, community centers where you can help a child. Spend an hour a week. They have a surrogate grandparent program where kids that don't have grandparents, you can sign up and spend 1 hour a week to be a surrogate grandparent to a Jewish kid, a Catholic kid, a Protestant kid, a Presbyterian kid, black kid. Then we will show these preachers of peace tomorrow what we the people are capable of doing, and could show those 168 nations in the United Nations that we refuse to kill one another. Now what are you going to do? Whether you believe the teachings of a man like Jesus or Moses or Socrates or Plato, it's unimportant. But what did they say? What was the message? How can anybody who spends money in a church that says you will take your weapons and beat it into plowshares, pick up an AK-47 and kill somebody and get a medal for it? No wonder guys come home from the army nuttier than a bed bug. They've been taught peace on earth, goodwill toward men. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not commit. Thou shalt not kill, and you go out and kill somebody, you get a damn medal for it. You mean to tell me that's normal? You mean to tell me that the average person is capable of living with that hypocrisy and contradiction in their brain? If the 10 Commandments says thou shalt not kill, take your gun and stick it up your ass, George Bush. You go kill him. Oh no. But the good book says, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar. So I will take the 10 Commandments, shove it up your ass, God. I'm taking a gun because I got to give Caesar what Caesar wants, and I got to kill that bastard in Iraq. Now you tell me how a psychiatrist or a psychologist can set anybody's mind straight with that type of convoluted logic. I can't figure it out. Those of you who remember the days of talk radio, when talk radio was talk radio, not bullshit radio that is today, and I'm criticized for the language I used in this program. You want to know something? I don't give a rat's ass. I remember the late Bayard Rustin, who formed the union of workers on the railroad, the Pullman workers. And when I interviewed him, I said, Mr. Rustin, I said, you seem to be a very passive person here in the studio, speaking logic, calm, reserved. could you tell me why you were so outraged when you took the Pullman porter's case and unionized the railroad workers? And he said to me, Irving, the only way that you can get the attention of a jackass is to hit him in the head with a 2x4, and then you'll get his attention, and then you say, giddy up. And then you're real nice to the jackass. So what I do in this program here on the internet, is hit you in the head with a 2x4 to get your attention. Then after I get your attention, we together will pull the load that us jackasses are required to pull for the rich, the powerful, the mighty, and the people who bullshit us. Going back to radio station WWDB, I can tell you as a result of doing this program all the many months that I've been doing it, who in the mainstream media and the talk show hosts listen to the program, because I can hear repeats of my program on their program. And I don't care which one it is. They all, if they don't monitor this format directly, they have their underlings monitor it and pick out sound bites of what I say, and I can hear it used 2-3 days down the pike, since I monitor the stations myself. One of the men that I worked with at WWDB, who was the voice of the Baltimore Orioles and also the two football teams that Baltimore had. Tom Marr was the voice of the Orioles and football team. Great guy, great voice, great talk show host. Disagreed with Tom 90% of the time. But we had a mutual respect between Tom and I. And I think I told this story before, but I like to hear the story, so don't interrupt me because I want to tell it again. I had to go to the hospital and have my gallbladder removed. And Tom met me in the hall and he said, Irv, you're going to the hospital in 2 days? I said, yeah, Tom. He handed me, said, give me your hand. I gave my hand. And he put a set of rosary beads in my hand. He said, I want these when you come back to work. I says, Tom, I'm Jewish. They're beads to me with a cross. Has no religious significance whatsoever. He says, I don't care whether it has any religious significance to you or not. It does to me. And because I respected Tom and because I liked him, I took those rosary beads, went through the surgery and recovered, and gave him the Tom and just said thank you. He said, you're welcome, and that was the end of the conversation. No conversion, no conversation about his religion versus my religion, nothing of that magnitude. And Tom and I have had a relationship of respect, although we differ on many, many, many things. Subsequent to my recovery, for those of you who are listeners of the radio station, we had a gentleman, after Dominic Quinn passed away, who did the morning show, by the name of Gil Gross. One of the most articulate, intelligent talk show hosts. One of the few that I respect. Gil not only was a good talk show host, but he was one of the most broadly educated men that I met, next to Jack McKinney, that used to write for the Philadelphia Daily News and did talk radio many years ago on WCA Radio. Jack is the only person I know that could go from being an expert in sports, switch subjects in the middle of his program, and be an expert on opera. The man was absolutely mind-boggling. And I had the good fortune of being in Jack McKinney's company many, many times. Well, Gil Gross took his place. And Gil had to have throat surgery. Gil being Jewish, I being of the Jewish faith, we don't have symbols of crosses, of icons, and things like that. We have a mezuzah on the front door, which has the 10 Commandments, and we bless that as we enter the house and leave the house. And so I carry something in my pocket, and I've showed it to you many, many times. And it's a silver dollar. It was minted at the time of my birth, 1924. And I cherish this because it was given to me by my mother. And I said, Gil, I want you to take this silver dollar and return it to me after your throat surgery. And don't ask me any questions. He graciously took it. I didn't know whether he was going to recover from the surgery. I didn't know what was wrong with him. I didn't care. It was a redemption of the thought of a man like Tom Marr, whose respect and love for another human being was far more than he was required to do as a colleague of mine on the radio station. And maybe it was a cleansing of my soul. Maybe it was a redemption. But I felt I had to do something to pass on the encouragement that Tom gave me at the time of my surgery. To make a long story short, Gil recovered, came back to work, gave me back the silver dollar, and no words were said. Other than, this was an extension of someone who did the same thing for me, Gil. The only thing I'd like you to do is to pass that on to someone else, which he has done. You may have heard Gil replacing Paul Harvey, who does a syndicated 5-minute snippet called And That's the Rest of the Story. His wife, incidentally, is a very cultured opera singer who was world-renowned. That type, ladies and gentlemen, of humility, that type of understanding between human beings who have different opinions, different ideas, different cultures, different religious upbringing, is what we people of the world must adopt. Turn aside this hatred that is being promoted on radio, on television, in the news media, in your churches, in your synagogues. Say, it's all over, boys. The game's over. The game's over. There must be an international day of recognition that if we are to survive more than the animals on this earth, we've got to do something different. That's the words I have for tomorrow, the day of Christmas, which, although the religious significance of the day doesn't mean anything to me, but then again, very few religious days mean anything to me other than the symbolism, which is more important than the celebration. The symbolism of families getting together, of people hearing from people they haven't heard, the unification of people who are too busy during the year, to those people who are lonely and to those people who want to be alone. Because someone is alone doesn't necessarily mean they're lonely. So if a person wants to be alone, leave them alone. I can be alone but not lonely. Learn to understand people a little bit more. But take the day for what it is. Not the religious symbol, not the icons, not the presents, not the gifts. But love the people that you're going to be spending time with. Pick up the phone, make new relationships, make new friends, but be a true friend. A true friend isn't how big of a check you write or how many toys you give to tots. I have friends, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't talk to maybe in 6 or 8 months. but they know if they need something, they pick up the phone, and if it's within my power to get it, they get it. And I know that if I need something, I can pick up the phone, and they'll be at my front door in 10 minutes. That is a friend. A friend isn't somebody that takes you to dinner, and you go to dinner, and blah, 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 all that crap. Or is jealous of something that you have, or you're jealous of something that they have. A friend is a person that has no limits, no bounds to the commitment that one has to the other. And I'm fortunate in my life I have those kind of friends. We have a question on the chat room board. Any thoughts on Obama's birth record appeal on 1909? Well, the information from Berg's website is a writ of certiorari is still pending. It is now scheduled for conference before the United States Supreme Court on January the 9th, 2009. So we will bring, and you can go to www.obamacrimes.com and get the update on it on yourself. Now, we've got to call into Berger, or to, what's his name? Philip Berg, to come on the air with us, but apparently he's been swamped by calls all over the country. We have a telephone call?
Yep.
We have a telephone call on the Irv Homer Show. Hello, how are you?
I'd like to set you up with a question that I want to hear an answer to on Friday. It's my opinion, and you just said it, that the media is somehow controlled. I think you just said it. And I want to give an example of what I think is total control, and I want to ask you how they do it. Several months ago, Michael Reagan, who's got a radio show, on the air called for the killing of somebody. And he essentially said, go out and find this guy, take him to a shooting range, put him on a target, shoot him, I'll pay for the bullets. He said it several times. Not one news media picked it up that wasn't what I would consider alternative. Alex Jones picked it up, some of the Newsmax picked it up. But here's the question, and this is the part that really baffles me. Michael Reagan, son of President Reagan, is a conservative. Now, we know that the news media is littered with liberals.
Is he the adopted son of Reagan? Isn't he the adopted son of...
He's the adopted son of Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
But here's my question. How is it possible that not one liberal writer, not one liberal commentator, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, that not one liberal writer latched onto this story and said anything about it? If you do a Google search and you look in the news, you will find nothing in anything that's considered mainstream. It's a blackout.
Did you hear him say it? Did you hear him say it?
Yes. In fact, he had the person on that he threatened the following Monday because he actually left the country. Reagan left the country because he was getting death threats. People found him. They found his mobile phone. They found out where he lived. He did the radio show remotely out of the country.
Good.
He left.
Good. I'm glad he did.
But here's,
Well, why did the media report it?
why did anyone in the media report it? Because he's the ninth most listened to talk radio host.
I've never heard him.
Conservative.
I've never heard him. I've known him, but I've never heard him. Well, I'll tell you why. The same reason that the media was too cowardly to print the fellow who wrote the book on Islam.
You mean Rushdie?
Yeah, Solomon Rushdie. The same reason that the papers would not repeat the cartoon that was put in the Denmark paper, because there's a bunch of crazies out there that could kill you.
Okay, but how do you explain that an MSNBC, that somebody who is definitely to the left, wouldn't pick this up and excoriate Reagan? How is it that nobody, and if you do a Google search and take a look, have Ron do it and show you.
Ron, search it out.
Nothing in there. Nothing.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because, Howard, no one wants to be responsible for the death of another person, either the death of Michael Reagan or the death of the person that he threatened. And reporting something like that could trigger some type of violent reaction to either Michael Reagan himself. As you said, Michael Reagan fled the country because someone would kill him. I personally think that, and I'll say it, you threaten somebody to be killed, don't be surprised if you're going to get killed yourself.
Well,
It's that simple.
He said
And
that-
probably
he said that first, yeah.
Probably Michael Reagan is the ass that he is. If it wasn't for the fact that his father's name was Ronald Reagan, he'd probably be shoveling shit someplace in an outhouse, not doing talk radio. The man should be thrown the hell off the air for advocating the killing of anybody.
It was a criminal act that he
You're
did.
damn right. It was.
You couldn't even get the district attorney in San Francisco.
Well, why don't the left then file charges with the FCC against the radio station, against him, and get him thrown the hell off the air? And find Howard Stern.
No.
Howard Stern gets fined for saying shit or CUNT, and this guy can advocate killing somebody, and nobody files a complaint with the FCC? Why don't you file a complaint with the FCC? Thanks for calling. We'll do it, and let me know how you make out. I'm Irv Homer. Have yourself a very happy Christmas, a Merry Christmas. And while you're driving to the Christmas dinner tomorrow and somebody cuts you out, give them the finger and the spirit of peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And don't forget the ladies. Till the next time, I'm Irv Homer.